Hi everybody, it's Rachel and we are back with another video. So today, we have hide and seek. So I don't have the fabrics yet. I just got the pattern and the paper pieces so far, but I'm going to get started on making some templates in this video. But I should have the paper in just a few days so we can get started on this fun pattern. And yeah, so Hide and Seek is a block of the month that was put on by Pink Door Fabrics. I believe the block of the month is closed, but this is a pattern you can pick up from them or paper pieces and follow along with your own fabrics if you would like. I definitely 100% suggest getting the pattern. I would not try this on your own. It's an intermediate pattern. It's not going to be an easy one. You can see all that intricacy. The block of the month is going to have kind of a different colorway. I believe it's going to have a color wash that goes this way. It's going to be different from what's on here, but should be a lot of fun. The pattern pieces are legitimately just these three pieces. So the entire of this quilt is made up of just these three pieces, and actually mainly these two pieces. This is probably about 1/20th of the pieces. There's probably, I think, what did it say in here? I believe it says how many pieces there are actually. Let me see. So yeah, so there's 60 of these, 60 of these, 2,356 of these, so that's not even 1/20th, that's way less, and 1,430 of these. So mainly this piece, second, and like a little blip. I don't even know. It's weird that there's only 60 of those, but it must be the centers of the main, because there's three main flowers, so maybe it's the centers of those, I don't know. But anywho, so those are three pieces for the pattern. So we are going to make templates today for this. So I will link to the video of, oh man, I forgot her name again. I'm so sorry. But I will put the link in the comments, so make sure you check it out, of another YouTuber who did these clear plastic templates. I don't buy acrylics. You definitely could use the acrylics to do these, but I still think these clear plastic are going to work better than the acrylics. So even in the pattern, it suggests drawing lines on your acrylics in order to, because this is all going to be matched up, so you'll have two pieces that are exactly the same and match them up, and it creates a secondary design. So that's the whole point of this, basically this entire quilt, fussy cutting. And I still think the acrylics are maybe not exactly the way to go, because you still got to place your papers properly in order for it to all line up. And I really liked this method that the other YouTuber did, where you have a hole that your paper can go in, and then you have your drawings on top. So I would personally still suggest this way, but if you want to do it with the acrylic templates, of course, you know, have at it. I will not be purchasing acrylic templates, so you will not see that method in my videos. All right, so let's move this out. So I, as I showed, made this template and was able to create these two pieces that are identical. So it worked really well, but there were a couple things about this template that I didn't like. So I have made some modifications, or I should say mentally made some modifications. I actually wanted to do one of these templates last night by myself without recording it, because I wasn't in the mood to record, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait, because I'm gonna do it all on video with you guys the first round. So I know you guys like seeing my tutorials where I actually do it with you rather than having it all clean and polished and already done. So we're going to attempt this together to make this one a little bit better. So there are a couple things about this I didn't like. Number one, when I put it on the fabric, it slid around a lot. So the point of this template is to, well, you would do it on the back, but is to place it down onto something. You have these registration marks that show where to place it, and then you open it up and you put your paper in, and you can see, even just me doing just this example, this moves around quite a bit. So that was one thing I wanted to change somehow. And then the other thing was, on the top you put these registration marks, but if you use dry erase marker, it just wipes right off. So if you're making 8 pieces, you might be wiping off your registration marks, and you really don't want to do that because redrawing them is not going to be easy because they're supposed to all be the same. So those were a couple of details that I am hoping to fix, and my cutting wasn't very precise. I used little scissors to do my cutout that wasn't super precise. So we are going to try this again with the actual pieces and see if we can do something a little bit better. So the first step, of course, is to draw and cut the template. So, there's this white cardboard in here. Maybe I'll put this down just to make it a little easier. So I purchased these acetate sheets. That's what I used to make that initial one. And these did work great. In the other video, the other YouTube, and like I said, it is linked in the comments. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. I'm terrible with names all around in life. In her video, she did an acetate on the top so you could see through it, and then the cutout was on a solid piece of paper. And I thought it actually would work a little bit better to have both be acetate so that you could see where your seam allowance is. Ooh, my brain died, sorry. So that's what I am doing. And I just realized I didn't grab scissors. So I'm gonna go grab those. I'll be right back. Okay, scissors. So the first step is going to be cutting the opening. So this is what we're going to use. So once the opening's cut, we place everything down. You're going to place each paper in the opening and glue it down, and that's what's going to get you your precision. You want to make sure you're leaving enough room around so that you can see seam allowance. You don't want to put it right on the edges, so leave a little bit. You don't want to leave so much room that it's bulky either though. So I'm not really sure. These shapes are going to kind of move around every which way, so there's really no right or wrong of doing it like this or whatever the case may be. I don't think it's really going to matter. And if ultimately it does matter in the end, then once I make a few, I will change it up. But I think having it on point is going to be the most way we use it because they're stars that come together. So it's going to be on point. So we're going to take one template, one paper piece, and we're going to draw around it. Oh, that's right. I glued that down. Oh, I got to grab my glue. Okay, we have glue. And actually, you know what? I'm going to put a list of materials in the comments. So unlike me, you know exactly what you need to grab before you get started. So acetate, I'll make a list here. Non-fabric scissors, glue pen, paper templates, Sharpie. So that's what we've used so far. So we'll start with that. Okay. So on my acetate, I just have one piece of acetate. We're going to do it in a diamond shape. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe it would be better if I do it on black so you can see that. It's going to be in that diamond formation. I am going to draw around, but first I'm going to glue this down so it does not move on me. When we did the Halloween one, it moved on me, so we learned that tip. So we're just going to glue it down. There's no rhyme or reason to the gluing. It's just so it doesn't move. It's going to come back up anyways. And I'm going to draw right around. Whoa, run away, Sharpie. Right along that edge. And you want to get, I'm actually going half on the paper and half on the acetate so that I know it's nice and precise. You don't have to thicken this up or anything. We just want to make sure it's nice and precise. Alright, so we're going to take the paper off and let that dry a little. Should be dry. Alright, so that's dry. So next up, we're going to add to our list of tools. These two are optional, but I'm going to use a piece of glass an Xacto knife to cut my templates. So if you know anything about me watching my videos, I like to be super precise. So if you have never used an Xacto knife before, cutting with an Xacto knife on glass, you could also use a razor blade, is the easiest way. Glass is actually a porous material, so the blade actually goes through the glass pretty easily. So I think this is going to be a little bit easier than cutting a slit and using scissors to cut around, which would be your other option. So if you don't have an Xacto knife, you can definitely just cut a slit in the middle here and then use your scissors to cut on the inside of your Sharpie line. So this is, again, my first time trying this. I always try everything with you guys. So let's give this a go. So again, I'm going to cut on the inside of my Sharpie line. I don't know how sharp my Xacto is. Oh yeah, that's good. Cool. Actually, no, I'm gonna cut this a little smaller first. So we're gonna cut this to about the size that I want my final rectangle to be. That way I'm not oversize it even. Well, that way I'm not turning around so much acetate. Alright, so let's go ahead and keep going. So, I know this is kind of nitpicky, but this is a template that I'm using for 2,500 pieces. So I really want this to be as precise as possible. It's going to get used over and over. I'm assuming I'll probably even have to make another template at some point, but yay! Oh yeah, that worked beautifully. Beautiful. So now we have a template with a hole in the middle. Okay, so the next step, oh shoot, all right, I skipped a step because I was going to do, so one of my problems with the template was that it slid all over my fabric. So I actually bought washi tape. I should have probably gone the one with glitter. Maybe that would work better. If that works better, I'll just change it up. But I bought washi tape because I thought it would give it enough friction on the back of my template to hopefully not have it move around so much. And I was actually going to put this on before I cut it. I was going to cover my line and then put it on. But since I did not, I'm just going to do it now. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to overlap my line a little bit so that I can go back in and cut it. So it's going to not only give me a visual of where my edges, actually I'm not going to use white. Well, I don't know what would be better, because maybe we have a lot of dark fabrics. So it'll give me a visual of where my edges, so if I have my fabric, I'll see exactly where my edge is. And then hopefully it also, I don't know if it really gives a lot of drag. This might not be the right answer. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to put it on and try it, I guess. Maybe I'll do a couple colors. This is my first time actually working with washi tape, which is hilarious to me because I'm a scrapbooker too, or used to be. And you'd think that I would have used this all the time, but when I got it, I was like, oh, it's so small and thin, I didn't realize. So I'm gonna actually use two different colors. We'll see if it confuses me. But this washi tape is easily, oops, pulled up, so if I don't like it, I'll just take it off, or I'll change it for one that maybe has glitter, I think is usually, maybe that's the suggestion on. I know people suggest using this on the acrylic templates so they don't move around so much, so that's what gave me the idea. And I can't seem to find my end. Oh, there it is. Oh, do blue and see if I like one color better than the other because I could always swap it out. So again, my plan had been to put this on prior to cutting so that I would cut just a little bit of this at the same time as the template so that they would be pretty precise together, but I totally spaced that, so we're just gonna roll with it. This piece is a little short. All right, so now I have an edge. So I'm going to go in and cut my, and this should be easy because I'll go right up against it. It's nice and thin, so. So if you're doing this, if you're watching the video first, which I always suggest watching my videos first because unlike most people who do tutorials, I don't do this process first usually, I just do it with you. So I always suggest watching all of my videos all the way through because I am learning as I go on the video itself too. So if you're going to use this method with the tape, I would definitely suggest putting that on before you cut. Okay, all set. So we'll see if this makes a difference on the fabric, if it gives it enough drag to make a difference. Okay, so now I am done with my glass. So next step is going to be creating my window for this. So I think this was, where's my cut? No, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is going to be my bottom now. Make sure my template still fits. So I have to do this 3 times, so we'll get it better. So this might be a little tight because I did do it super tight to the paper piece. We'll see how that works out when I'm actually using on fabric. If it's a little tight, I might just take a sliver off the edge once I'm using it, but that's easy enough to do on the fly. Because again, we don't want these pieces moving around, so being too tight might be a good thing. Okay, so now I'm going to trim this up to the exact size I want, so I can make a little pocket window with it. And remember, everything if you're making these with me, everything you're buying to make these, you probably have a lot of extra of. So don't be afraid to make a mistake, start over, whatever it is. So I think visually I want this to be pretty similar, so we're gonna make this even a little smaller. Okay. Good enough. So now we're going to make our door. So this is going to go here. So it's a little bit longer than that, so I have to come down a little. I scratch this piece. It has a little scratch in it. It's funny. So we'll come down a little. That works. So we will trim that up in a second, but first we're going to use tape. I guess I'll use my washi tape because again it'll give me some drag on the back even though it's pretty thin. So we use the tape. This is going to be our hinge. So you can use clear tape, or if you do have the washi tape, hopefully this should work. So you want the tape to go about halfway because this is going to be your hinge. So we're going to line this up. Actually, you know, I might do it, maybe I'll do it this way because then I know it's nice and tight. Put those edges together. I'm not sure it close. All right, so I think that works good. So we will trim this now. Okay, so on our list, washi tape. I think that's all. Okay, so let's give this a try and see how we do. Because I have one other suggestion. I don't have my light box, and I of course picked a dark fabric, so hopefully we can still make this work. So I would do this over a light box so you can see through it a little better, but I'm just gonna wing it because why not? This is gonna be Swiss cheese fabric. So let's do his face, I guess. So it does still move around pretty good on the fabric. I'm not sure if the washi tape made that big of a difference, but I still stand by it. And if you have the glitter, maybe that has a little more grip. Like I said, I've never even used washi tape before, so I just bought some, and the glitter one might be better. Oops. Always put your cap on your Xacto knife so you do not cut yourself. So the way that this works is you find a place that you want to have a repeat. Do not use your permanent marker to draw this. So another step that I think I mentioned at the beginning that I didn't like was that your markings could easily get washed off. And let me pull this away from my, I'll be a little not centered because my ring light reflects on my thing. So the other part of it was doing the drawings, the markings, and I was actually watching Fawns and Porter, and she was using acetate to test out quilting designs for free motion quilting over fabric. And she had a really good suggestion. She said, don't use the dry erase, because if you accidentally get it on your hand, you could get it on your fabric. She was working on finished quilt tops, so you definitely, and either way, you don't want it on your fabric. So what she suggested was actually wet erase markers. So if you just look that up on Amazon, wet erase markers, what this is once it has a second to dry, so we'll put just a little mark on here, so you just put like a tiny little mark. Once it has a second to dry, well, it didn't dry, but it actually won't wipe away with your fingers. I've been using it on a whiteboard for a little while now, so it does not wipe away as easily. You just got to give it a few seconds to dry, which I obviously didn't do. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to do registration marks along our permanent marker line, just so that we are drawing on the top door, so I know that that lines up when I go to put it down. So if I'm a little off like this, I don't know if you can see that, sorry for the bad reflection, I'll know. So obviously try not to touch it till it dries. Then we're going to place it on our little character here and make registration marks. So you want to make as many registration marks as you think you'll need to be able to duplicate this exact spot again. So you want to just go all the way down. Don't be afraid to draw too much, because again, this is what's going to get you your precision. So outline all the different spots, okay? And then you can give it a second to kind of dry so that you don't rub that off. All right, and I think I'm gonna make a little, I had made a little tab as an opener for my top piece, and I'm gonna do that again. So on my actual full top piece, I'm going to make a little opener. So just take a piece of washi tape and fold it over on itself, so that you can open that top door without hopefully disturbing too much. So now you can see this is dry, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's the nice thing about the wet erase markers. So let's put this back down. So the way this is going to work, and I'm going to actually use 2 of my pieces to do this. Okay, so you want to line up your markings. We're going to open the door, and hopefully, oh, I think that tape does help it not move around. All right, so I'm actually pretty happy with that. Put some glue on your template, and then put your template down. So obviously this is the one I used to draw. And then lift this through. So I think, okay, so something we learned, you don't want your, even though you want it to be as precise as possible, I think going maybe, so this was my Sharpie line, going a little bit into that Sharpie line might be the right answer, because it was a little tight pulling it out. So, but that's fine. All right, so let's do a second one though. So can I get this guy? So see, this is the good thing about having the clear on the bottom. So see, I have this, I could do this guy, but see how close that is to my edge? If this was a solid piece, I might not notice that there's missing fabric there. So that is the nice thing about having the 2 pieces clear. And I think this lighter washi tape doesn't, I think I might have to go a little darker on that washi tape. So, but, oh, and maybe on the front, maybe it'd be easier. Would that be easier if I start? Maybe that would be easier. I'm gonna play around with that so that I'm not looking at the back of the washi tape, but I'll put it on the front of this template instead. Maybe when I cut it a little bit smaller, I'll try that. All right, so let's do another guy here. So again, this is too far to the edge, so we're gonna go all the way down here. And I'll zoom in. Actually, I'll come off of my light so that you can see it better. So you can see I'm lining up all of these. Now this, ooh, this is a different, see? This is why you do it. This guy is actually different. He doesn't have the little whoosh here. So we gotta pull in, I guess they're the same in the row. So this is all, this is what this quilt's gonna be like. This is gonna be quite a project to do this 2,000 times. So this guy is all lined up. So before I open the door, I think I like that idea better. Before I open the door, I'm going to take my paper template. I'll zoom out now so you can see the whole process. So before I open my door, I'm going to put some glue, but you don't want your glue sitting too long either because it will dry out. So then we'll open the door, put the paper precisely in that opening, take this off. All right, so now we're going to try cutting these 2 out to see if we get an exact match. So I think it still needs a little bit of work, but I think it'll work out good. So again, I can now go to another spot with my template, and then once I'm done with this particular design, so I think each one probably has to cut out 6 or 8, just take a little wet paper towel and you can wipe these markings off. But see, like now they're on there nice and good. They're not going to wipe off on you, so you won't lose your registration. I think that wet erase was actually one of the best tips that I got. So I'm going to, I'm going to use my non-fabric scissors because I didn't grab my fabric scissors either. So we're going to just cut these out. Ah, of course these are not going to work. That's why you have 2 pairs of scissors. All right, I got to grab my fabric scissors. All right, so let's cut these out. so like I said earlier, I don't use acrylic templates, so I just eyeball my seam allowances. But if you glue these papers down with a good amount of glue, they're not going to move, they're not going to go anywhere. So that's why I think this method is actually a little better than just drawing on your acrylic templates, because you still got to figure out where to place your paper once you cut the fabric. So if you drew on your acrylic template, you're going to get the same piece of fabric and you'll have more precise seam allowances, but you still got to be able to glue that paper down in the exact right spot 6 times as well. So obviously it does work for a lot of people, because people have been making this type of quilt for a while. But I think if I can get my templates for this method down right, this is going to be a little simpler and hopefully a little more precise. Oop, definitely cut that. A little wonky, but that's fine. All right, so let's go ahead and base this so we can see how we did. Based on this. And obviously, once I have the actual fabric for this quilt, this is not the fabric, I will go through basting and which way you want your ears to go and all that kind of stuff. And another thing I have to say about looking at these templates, this is the upsized version of this quilt. I can't even imagine how small these were if you were doing it the size that the actual pattern intended. Like, these are already seem so small to me. So it is definitely nice that we're working in the upsized version. Stay down for some reason. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to do them both before I flip them over so we can see the magic, hopefully, or see how bad I did. And I'm sure there will be some method to how we do ears and everything, because we are making stars. You do want your ears to kind of all go in the same direction on your fabrics. So like I said, we'll go over all of that. For these 2 pieces, it doesn't matter because I'm just doing this as an example. But we will definitely go over all of that in the first video that I make for hide and seek. So, one more edge, and we are almost done. All right, so let's flip them over and see how we did. Oh yes, ooh, we did pretty good. Yeah. Maybe ever so slightly off, but I think this would definitely pass for the same. You can see even that little stars in the same spot. This one's a little further over, but maybe a little more precision on the gluing would help, and my template was a little tight to pull out, so that probably didn't help, but I would say that's pretty dang good. So that worked great. All right, so we just have to make our other 2 templates and we'll be ready for hide and seek. Okay, so we're gonna do another round and try to learn from what we did last time with this round. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down, make sure the tips are glued down good too, my pattern onto the acetate. And again, this will just get peeled up, so there's, you know, you don't have to be overly overdone with this. Then we will draw our black line. Alright, so we're going to do the first step, which is the washi tape. So wherever I put the washi tape is going to be the back. because the point of the washi tape is to help hold it down. So we'll do a black color on this one. See if I can find that end. So I'm going to kind of overlap the black line a little bit, so when I cut with my Xacto knife, this will come out perfect too. Okay, so I've covered all the black lines, and then I'm going to cut it from this side so I can see the lines that I drew. And on this one, we are also going to cut just inside that black line. So you can see the washi goes a little bit over that black line, and then I am going to use my Xacto knife to cut in that black line alone. So again, I'm on my glass. I'll try to do this outside of my ring light. So I am going to go just inside that black line to give me a little bit more room for the template to float. I don't think I would go on the outside of the line because you don't want it to float around too much in there, because then you won't be as precise in your placement. So, because obviously the point of this is to try and get all 6 or 8 pieces as precise as you possibly can. Which is no small feat. Okay, I think I have that good. I just have to do some corners again. It's usually where it gets caught up a little bit. Okay, so that should be good. So we'll cut this. So this is going to be my bottom, and then I'm going to cut a piece for my top. Actually, I'll cut it after I tape. So next step is, again, to do my hinge. Oh, let's use that. I got so many different colors, and I'm going to try a variety of them to see which ones I like. Zhuzh it up a little, make it pretty since we're using this for so long. So I'll find the end. I think it's right here. Okay, so that's good. And then we will trim. So my template is a little short, the top piece here, but it does cover where the actual shape is, so I'm not going to be concerned about that because obviously that's what's going to be going over the fabric anyways. So we will leave that alone. And I think that's done. I think that's all I had to do. So let's try it out on the back of our fabric to see how that looks. And again, I'm doing this without a light board and showing you this, so definitely use a light board. That'll help a lot too. Oh yeah, no, I like that darker color. Yep, that works. All right, so let me, we gotta do my little handle. We'll use another color, why not? to do my little handle. So for this, you're just doing it just on the edge and making a little handle for you to be able to lift that up once it's down. So it would be like this, and then I would have the handle to lift it up. Perfect. All right, so we will do our last shape. Oh, that was what I wanted to check, was how this, although this, so let's see how it goes. So if I glued this down, oh yeah, ooh, that might be a little too much space actually. No, I'll try it, but this definitely lifts up and over much better. So I gotta be somewhere in between the two cuts. All right, so that looks good though, and we'll move on to the third one. Okay, we got one more shape. Let's see if we can get this one exactly right. So again, we're going to glue the shape onto our plastic. You don't need a ton of glue, we just don't want it to move around on our acetate, so that we can draw that first line. Make sure you have plenty of room along the edges to have room above and below your template, so that you're not having to make the template weak by not having enough space. We'll draw our black line. Okay, looks good. Lift that off. Alright, so now we need our washi. And I think I did like the darker color. We'll see once I'm actually doing it. I can always swap out this washi and just recut it with the Xacto knife. It seemed like between the two, I would like the darker better. It shows me the edge a little better. So again, we're going to put this right on the edge of the marker line. And like I said, I got this idea kind of branched off from it and made it a little bit my own from another YouTuber that does these type of templates. So definitely make sure you check out her video. I put the link in the comments for you, and you can make this process your own. Jump off of my idea, make it your own, jump off of her ideas, whatever. That's the fun thing about crafting, is although I show you exactly how I do it, you definitely want to try and make it your own as you can, whatever makes your life easier. Ideas that you might have that we haven't thought of. And if you do come up with a new idea, definitely let me know in the comments too. Alright, so Xacto knife next. So we're going to try to cut the difference of between the two that I had. And if you don't like how one of your templates came out, you can always remake them. I'm honestly probably going to remake my first two. Practice makes perfect. Only because we're going to be using this for so long, so much of the quilt, so much precision. So I definitely want these to be as much to my standard as I can, my own standard. I love to be as exact and perfect as I can, but at the same time, especially when I'm actually quilting, if I make a mistake, I'm usually just like, whatever, it works. because I don't like redoing things. But I will say I do spend a lot of time ahead of time trying to get things perfectly right so that hopefully those mistakes don't happen. But I very rarely will unstitch something and redo it, because done is better than perfect. Alright, so we'll cut this apart. This is again going to be our back. Just cut this a little closer. This is a bigger template, so it's a little more unyieldy. I might actually again even remake this one because it might be a little too unyieldy, but it's fine. It's fine, it's all fine. All right, so we want our tape for our hinge. And of course you can make these, so if you're left-handed, it'd be easy enough to make these going the other way with the hinge on the other side, so that you could open it the other way, which might feel more natural to you. Line those up good, so when you fold it, there's going to be a little tension, but just pinch the paper and that'll be fine. Cut this. That's going off the acetate. Alright, and then we will cut the acetate to size. I'm going to cut the top a little bit bigger actually, so I can get a good handle on that. Alright, so then we got to make our handle. I think I'll do a blue handle on this one. A little wonky, but it'll work. And I think that's it. So again, let's pull out our fabric. Let's see how it sits on there. So it definitely gets easier to make these the more you do it. So this would again be for not just fussy cutting. If I was just fussy cutting one piece, I would just use my light box. I wouldn't bother to make this template. That's kind of the reason I don't buy acrylic templates, just because it's at an expense. So each one of these you make is an added expense in time and everything. What I would make these templates for is when you have the repeating pattern and you're trying to get one shape 8 times so that you can put it into a star and have that repeating pattern. That is the perfect use for this, so that you can draw on the acetate and put the pattern piece down precisely where you want it. So again, open it up. Drop this in. Oh yeah, that one was much better. All right, so that last one, so definitely practice makes perfect. So go ahead and make all 3 of your templates. You'll probably, same as me, your last one will be perfect, and you may want to remake your first 2, which is totally fine, because like I said, we're going to be using these for a lot of pieces in the quilt. So we definitely want them to be as precise as possible so that we can get the best results as we are making this wonderful hide and seek quilt. So hopefully this video helped you make these. I know this is kind of a longer one, but I wanted to go through all the steps. Make sure you do check out that video for the original on this idea. Absolutely. Let me know any ideas you have to modify this method. Let me know too if you are doing hide and seek with us, because I'm excited to get started on those videos. Our fabric should be in hopefully next week, and yeah, hopefully you'll come on this journey with me. So like and subscribe, of course. Liking my videos tells YouTube that people do like it and want to watch it, and we'll show it hopefully to more friends that we can meet. And then subscribing, because I don't always post on the same day of the week, so YouTube will just let you know when I do post a new video. So thank you everybody, and let's see, let's get out all 3 templates here. So thank you everybody, and hopefully we will see you in the next video. Bye everybody.